Hello, everybody, and welcome to Do Something for the Kids, the podcast. Today, we got a special show for me and my co-host today. I get to introduce my co-host to two of the most influential people in my life. Two people that have been very monumental in the things that I have tried to accomplish and things that I've tried to get nurturing in to learn how to accomplish things. There's accolades I could go with for days for both of them, but I want you to hear their story. I am going to introduce them to you all very soon. But before I get started, Mr. Stevens.
Here we go.
Here we go. We like to give out flowers on this show. And ladies, we give out flowers to highlight people's significance and what they do in life. But before I give out these flowers as well, I want y'all to give a warm round of applause because you get both of my sisters today. One is actually my cousin, the other one is my blood sister, but I consider them both sisters in that aspect. You have Miss L.Brown and you have Miss Angela Brown. Thank y'all for coming on today. Thank y'all for being here. I'm going to start first with my sister, L.Brown. She resides in New York. Pretty much everywhere. She's known as Miss Hollywood. And if you know anything about her, she's been an entertainer her whole life, which has led her to get into the entertainment business as a freelancer. She's currently working on her book. The name of the book will be Embrace Your Uniqueness. I don't know if she's going to hold on to that title, but I love the title, so hold on to it, and I think it'll be wonderful. Next is Miss Angela Brown. Potential soon-to-be Dr. Brown.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Y'all gonna get her started today. But she's currently employed with Social Security Administration as a speech language pathologist, medical advisor, and independent contractor. Also, she's part on a Village Specialized Consultative Services. Ladies, thank y'all for coming on today.
Thank you for having us.
And as always, I have my co-host, Mr. Stevens.
How everybody doing? Always Mr. Stevens, never Sean.
Okay, Shantario.
Well, I'll take that.
But ladies, like I said, we give out flowers on this show. And Mr. Stevens, I'm just going to start with these two ladies because at the end of the day, they see me through ups and downs, good and bad. They probably got stories for days about me that I hope they don't tell on air, but I'm not gonna censor them today. If they want to tell them, they can tell them. Usually I censor people like, hey, don't tell that story, don't tell the story. But no, I'm not gonna censor them because I'm transparent as I can be, and I want people to hear about who made me. And that might not be the best language to say, but I want y'all to know who made me. But both of these ladies I've come to several times for different things, whether it was knowledge, whether it was strength, whether it was ability to persevere. And they could probably tell you each time. They might have didn't know exactly what to say, but it was perfect in what they said. Also, too, the thing y'all got to know about these two, they should have their own show. They're their own tandem.
What would we call it?
I don't know. Y'all.
I don't know.
That actually sounds good. Hey, you saw that Hollywood coming out right. But honestly speaking, though, I have to give them credit where credit is due. I wouldn't be the man I am today, and I know I answered this in my previous interview about people that was influential would do something for the kids, and I can't say exactly they knew I was going to produce a nonprofit company to help people. I don't even think they knew to the extent I tried to help people. But everything they've done, I've watched and followed and try to not necessarily mimic, but create my own lane from it. As this show goes on, we're going to throw more flowers and accolades at these young ladies. to help emphasize who they are. Because they're going to get me out of this. I'm trying to be serious today, y'all, but I'm not going to be serious for too long. This is going to be one great show. I want y'all to enjoy. And please, any story that y'all hear about me, do not.
It's true.
Y'all got to love that love-hate relationship. Because me and her, we're going to go back and forth today. Ain't that right, Mr. Stevens?
That's right. But you should have seen him earlier, though, before all of this.
Man, we wish we could show y'all the uncut versions of these. But in the guidelines and message that we want to give out, that's something that, you just have to see firsthand in person. Because we're trying to relay a message first, not just the fun times, but we want you to hear about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because you can't have happiness without going through some pain.
That's absolutely
and all the pain I've probably been through in my life, they have been people that came and helped me along to deal with that pain. I don't know which one I'm gonna start with, so I'm just gonna throw this question out here. What is y'all motivation? Either one of y'all that want to start the answer, go ahead. But I really want to know what has been your motivation to get to where y'all have gotten to in life.
I would say that my motivation strictly is knowing where I come from. We're all from the same area, which is Roland, North Carolina. And when I attended, it was then Pembroke State University, I got pregnant my freshman year. And I remember maybe lots of voices, but you only remember sometimes that negative one that said that I was going to be a statistic. And then I knew I was determined to be on the positive side of a statistic and not the negative side. So that's always been my motivation, knowing where I came from, what I went through, getting pregnant at a young age, and not necessarily trying to satisfy what others thought about me, but knowing that I did want to be a statistic, but not on the negative side. So that still drives me to this day.
Gotcha. What about you? This is odd for me, man. I'm actually about to call my sister Miss Brown. I don't know that.
That's right.
Man, look, y'all gonna get me today. I already know it. These man, just enjoy the show, y'all, because this is getting ready to be wonderful, man. Y'all might not see this too often where I'm gonna be flustered and don't know what to say, because these two are going to give me hell today. Excuse my language. My sister's gonna get me for cursing. I apologize. Miss Brown, it's still weird, y'all. Miss Brown, what's your motivation?
I agree with Angela. I refer her as AB. So knowing where we come from, and also I didn't finish school. I went to Winston-Salem State, go Rams, for 1 year, and then I went back home to work. And I was determined to get back in school. Angela was at Pembroke because she was my ride or die cousin growing up. And I'm like, I have to do something. And then I did try Robinson Community College in Lumberton. And once again, I didn't finish there either. And then the door opened for me to relocate to New York. And when I went to New York, started working, I was still determined to go back to school, and I did. And I I started off because I was working and going to school at night. I started up at Borough Manhattan Community College, and I finished on the dean's list, an A student. And then later on in life, I went to Temple University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and got my bachelor's. So so that was my motivation. I guess like being around good people,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
encouraging and just for determining that I need to finish school.
And being the big brother, little brother that I am, a lot of people don't really realize how proud I was of my sister and how much I wanted her to succeed past me. The crazy part is I actually graduated first. But I was hell-bent and determined that my sister achieved more than I did. And I didn't care at what cost it took for me to help her get to that level. If y'all know anything, my sister actually has helped me more than I can actually count on my fingers. Hands, toes, knees, elbows, whatever you want to call it. She's probably the driving force behind a lot of stuff I have done, because it's more or less, and she ain't heard this today, I wanted to make her proud of me. I wanted her to know that I listen, I learn. We ain't always agree, still don't at times. That's family
right.
for you, though. She acts like she's my mom, and practically has been my mother figure since I was a young child. And at the end of the day, I wouldn't have it no other way, because she made sure I got to the level I needed to be. And in our family, if you realize anything, there's a lot of people have made a lot of marks on life, but we don't talk about it that much, you know. If you talk to two of our aunts, though, they'll tell you, well, I'll tell you, such and such did this and such did that. And oh my gosh, I'm so proud of them. And I'm like,
you gotta love the aunties and their stories. Right?
yeah, but
I love it.
But they don't act like that behind closed doors. Hey, I'm gonna try to. Hey, listen, I'm gonna
be
try.
watching this podcast.
Yeah.
I wanted to, because I'm gonna get them on and I'm gonna let them tell their story. They both gonna let me have it. But I love those two ladies, because they are very influential in our lives, because they set the example for us, for the things they have done, and that, you know, we'll save their accolades for another show. But go ahead.
If I could interject for just a moment.
No, you cannot.
I am anyway. I'm gonna take the liberty to do so. That's the family liberty, right? But seriously, I wanted to say, while you're giving out flowers and accolades, I wanted to give a flower to you. I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
So proud of you. I remember when you started to do something for the kids, and and a lots of times we've had really in-depth conversations where you just sometimes didn't feel supported, and to see where you have arrived, okay, and knowing that it was destined for you to be here. Right. I wanted to give you a flower today, my favorite cousin Travis.
Oh, she laid it on thick.
We give you the crowd.
Said the crowd. Hey,
but actually,
did y'all hear that Jordan sink?
But you know what?
Y'all hear that Jordan sink the three?
What? Well, I did see your sneakers under the table. I'll take a pair. But seriously, no, for real. But I have a nickname for him, and I call him Brocuz, Brocuz. He's my brother and he's my cousin. So I just wanted to say before we go another further that I'm so very proud of you, because you came from the same place that we did. There's still not a lot of opportunities in our very small town, but we are big-minded people, not big-minded that we think that we're better than others, but we see the trajectory of our future and where we can be. So I'm glad to be here today with you.
Well, I'm glad that you said that, and I will accept the flower that you just gave me, because man, if she's gonna give me something, y'all better accept it first.
Yeah, you better this time, because it might not be the last. I don't know.
She a repo. She a repo.
Blessings.
You find a way.
I found a way.
You find a way. But no, I mean, this is the love and fun that we have, and I appreciate that, man, because a lot of times I don't give people time to give me, flowers or blessings, in that regard, because it's like, hey, it's just what I'm supposed to do. And the crazy part is, we're all from Roland. I'm gonna go ahead and include Sean. He's from.
I'm not from Roland.
Sean.
I'm from St. Paul.
Sean.
I'm from St.
If you
from St. Paul?
excuse me, Mr. Stevens.
Piece of me in Roland. So, I've been in Roland for a long time. My daughter's from Roland. Okay. Their family from Roland, so.
Oh, okay. Well, you're family indeed. Okay.
And also, I had my daughters when I was my freshman in college.
You did?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow. So how old are they now?
They're 22 right now.
22. Well, you got a story too then.
And we will be celebrating very soon, because one of his daughters is graduating from UNC Chapel Hill.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Stevens has to wear Carolina blue for the first time in his life.
So are you a Duke fan?
He is a Duke fan.
Oh, that's going to hurt you to your heart.
No. Once you walk, I don't have to wear it again.
So that's the upside of it.
I will correct myself, because Mr. Stevens doesn't want to be from Roland. He's from St. Paul's. But I was trying to give him his flowers in that lane to let him know that we accepted him, because he's been in Roland for that long, hanging with us.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I take the olive branch.
But St. Paul's is great too. If you're from Robinson County, I do believe this creed If you grew up and raised in Robinson County, you can make it anywhere. I'm one of the several people that can contest to that, because I went several places in my life, and my Robinson County background and upbringing actually made me the big fish in the big pond. But see, what we're afraid of is that we're going to go somewhere because we came from a small town, small area. Oh, we're going to be the small fish. No, you're the big fish, because everybody's going to gravitate towards you. And so that's why, it's so special to have my sister here as well, because like she's achieved so much. So I'm gonna throw her a couple of flowers real quick, real nice right now. And she hasn't really heard these things from me. If anybody know me, I would say certain things, but I really don't say much. It seems like I talk a lot, but I really don't. But my sister left.
You talk a lot.
I probably do, Mr. Stevens.
Every time his lips moving, he talking. Continue, sir. I apologize.
Y'all are our new host, Miss Angela Brown. But y'all, for my sister though, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm more happy, more excited, more proud. If y'all haven't noticed, you may have seen her in the background of a lot of things. She liked to play the background, but she's actually at the forefront with a lot of stuff, because you may have not noticed her in several TV shows that she's been on. You may have not noticed her in certain situations, and the funny thing about it is, like, she may be playing the background, but somehow the camera folds on her. So I think somehow she done paid somebody to make sure it got on her. But the funny thing,
did you hear when you said that? She was like, yes.
Yeah, she agreed. Like, it better be on me or else.
That's embrace your uniqueness.
Thank you. Hey. I'm speechless, y'all. I can't say much. But go ahead.
But it's amazing that you say that, though, and I know you're going to turn it over to Lynn to talk about, what she does in entertainment. But even though we're sometimes so comfortable being in the background, right? But when God has a vision for you, He'll make sure that spotlight is on you.
Right.
Y'all heard that from Evangelist Prophetess.
Oh yes, I'm gonna wear several hats today.
Over secret, y'all. Hey, excuse the Christian funniness, but we can say this kind of stuff on this show. But this is what I get when I talk to these two ladies. It's a yin and a yang, but both of them are hell on wheels. I'm sorry, sister, I didn't mean to curse. But they both hell on wheels, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Mr. Stevens, don't start. You gonna get them on me, man, and you ain't gonna help me today.
I'll stop.
You see what you did with the lawyer last time, man. You let me get lit up. But shout out to my lawyer, Miss Adrian Satchel as well. We have to shout her out after each show now, or during each show, or we'll get her affidavit sent after us. So Dr. Brown and Miss Brown, currently going to be developing a show, a podcast, or a television show, Cousins, very soon. I usually don't, I like to highlight and give people their flowers. And sometimes I like to let the guests go ahead and just tell their flowers at times, and when I say tell their flowers, I mean, talk about accolades. And I'm the type of person like this. I don't, like for me, I might be Tommy from Martin. You don't know what job I ever worked, but I got a job, or you think I might not have a job at all. But I take care of business.
Right.
I like to keep it a mystery. I like to keep it a mystery because like I've been in the standpoint of life where people look at it like, oh, what made you think you could get to this level? Well, life, people, you, everything, the doubters I ever had in my life, because like I walked away from football, and at the end of the day, everybody was like, well, you could have been this, could be that. Well, guess what? Who's here to tell the story today? Me. Because somebody has to hear this particular story. So for you ladies, what I want to ask is, there's many accolades that y'all have. I mean, we highlight a little bit on, who y'all are. We highlight a little bit on, the job titles or the professions that you're in, or the things that have made you who you are. Are y'all willing to share with our audience today what y'all actually do? And when I get to that point, I mean, what are some of the things that y'all willing to share with us today that, as far as, what we could say, job titles, experiences, life experiences, certain accolades or certain situations y'all been in that made y'all who you are today?
For me, most of my jobs that I've gotten has been put my best foot forward. After I left the state agency, I took 1 year off to do whatever I wanted to do. I wanted to travel because I've been working since I was 16. So, and then I decided to volunteer. I encourage all young people to volunteer, and I volunteered for, at that time, former President Obama re-election 2012 re-election, and I was in New York. And I went to Pennsylvania because they wanted people to help knock on doors. And I organized our group in New York to go down to Pennsylvania. And from there, I met a manager who was putting his team together because Pennsylvania is a battleground state and they needed boots on the ground. And when I went back, he actually called, didn't even know he was looking at me that way, like, oh, I want her to be on my team. He actually called the manager at the campaign office in New York, and he asked for me, and he asked what I was doing. I said, trying to figure things out. And so he said, I want you on my team. I like what you do. And I did. I went to Philadelphia. They put me up in a home, and we knocked it out, and we won that election that year. And we were so happy, and because of the way I ran my campaign office, and this is all from what I've learned over the years. When I worked for the state, I was executive assistant for the CEO, and I have always been an assistant since moving to New York. So that was in me already, and I love to organize, and I love people, and so with that. They were just sending all celebrities to my campaign office because I was able to draw a lot of volunteers in. And I met Nia Long. I met Dr. Jill Biden, who's now the First Lady. I met Michelle Obama's brother. So we was really doing it. And from then, they asked me, after the campaign was over, they asked for me to go down to Washington, D.C. to work on his inauguration. And so I encourage all kids and adults too, wherever you are, put your best foot forward because you never know who's watching you.
That's true. That's
Very true. I'm stuck on Neil Long. I told you I'm not gonna be too serious the rest of this show. You met Neil Long, didn't tell me. That's a whole conversation for another day. And don't you start over there.
And then I recently saw Neil Long, I think 2 years ago or so, at a function, and she remembered me.
That's good.
Because she and her father and her son came over to the campaign office to speak on behalf of President Obama. To get everyone fired up, as they say, ready to go.
That's amazing because, I probably could have mentioned some of this, you all, but I didn't know the in-depth story behind it. And it goes back to how proud I am of my sister because, I guess one of the, I'm going to say second, because our mom, she liked to highlight a lot of stuff. When she got that picture of you and Michelle Obama, I think she told everybody that she could across the board. Everybody knew about the picture. Everybody knew, my sister Lynn met and took a picture and knew. Well, in our mama's eyes, she know Michelle Obama. I was surprised she didn't say former President Barack Obama wasn't coming to the house to eat. I was waiting for that next, but she didn't get that far.
And how I got that picture was, I was volunteering in New York, and the manager just said, we want to send you to a dinner. And First Lady was speaking at that time.
And you know, I maybe you can contest to this. You know, is she? And I'm gonna say these words. I don't care. Excuse me, former President Barack Obama. She is lovely in person, as she is in image.
She is. Yes.
Woo. I just spoke for me and Mr. Stevens.
You said yes.
I mean, like, you know, if you want to talk about grace in a lady.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Man.
Yeah.
She is.
She is very much so.
Epitome of it.
Yeah. And, you know, the crazy thing is that's what I see in you two ladies. You know, I'm still giving out flowers, y'all. I haven't finished. That's what I see in you two ladies, you know, that type of charisma, charm, that that grace. It's hard to carry that grace, especially as influential women, not to mention black women, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, one thing I do appreciate, you know, from you two is that y'all don't shy away from the experiences and the situation at hand. Y'all embrace it, you know. Whereas some people may look at it like, I got to meet Michelle Obama and be starstruck. You know, you have to live in that moment. It's like, you know, I don't tell too many people, you know, I met who I consider the idol, David Banner, in person. And when I met David Banner, like, you know, I had so many words. And at the time I was working for, you know, a company called Hater Free Lifestyle. And we were trying to get our message and, you know, products out and trying to get, you know, knowledgeable things about the company. And so I, you know, had my little cousin with me, and I rolled up on David Banner at the celebrity basketball game at the Black Expo in Indianapolis that they have. And he looked at me and said, hey, go talk to my manager over there. Well, the funny thing was we had just already went over there and talked to the lady, and she was so in awe of what, you know, how we came to what we was doing. Like, you weren't trying to sell us on nothing. Like, no, we trying to give, but we want to meet, and we want to hope that y'all could get with this message that we're trying to give out. At that time, the Hater Free Principles. And so, you know, we exchanged information. I think we did send a package to him. And so, you know, he was kind of impressed, like, you know, y'all already talked to her? Yes. And so, again, we interrupted him while doing the game. There was a lot of great people there. I didn't get to meet Flex Alexander, who I think is a wonderful person. But the funny thing, y'all, Flex Alexander looks just like Flex Alexander in person. Like, you see him on TV, you're like, no, he looks like that in person. Christian Keys was there from the Tyler Perry shows and movies.
And sinners.
Anyway.
I'm just saying.
Anyway. But now to me, he was a little bit different.
Oh, okay.
Not necessarily so, but you know, every celebrity is not the same.
Yeah. Definitely.
But I actually got to talk to Kool Moe Dee. And I would tell y'all this story before we get back into it. Kool Moe Dee is probably one of the coolest people, but he's still Kool Moe Dee.
How you like me now?
Listen, excuse me, Kool Moe Dee, I don't want to embarrass you. But Kool Moe Dee had on one of them Sunday gentleman suits on, short suits on. But hey, it was Kool Moe Dee. Right. And so I was just like, when I told us, hey man, I remember you, man, like your music, thank you. He had the biggest Kool-Aid smile with those same glasses. Same glasses.
How you like me now?
And if you saw Kool Moe Dee, you would think he's from our area. Because I mean, that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, people, it don't matter where you're from.
Right.
You're going to connect with people because they are similar to what you know. But the message David Banner gave out that day, I can't really tell y'all because it was the message for the people that was there. He gave out one of the most monumental speeches I ever heard. And so I don't try to get starstruck, and I really want starstruck, but I was struck so I'm sitting here trying to find all the words I want to say. Dave Banner, hey man, I got beats. Hey man, can I do some music with you? Hey, with everything. But all I could come to the man was say, hey, respect, and shook his hand and took a picture with him. And
that's all was needed.
The crazy thing, like, we were locking eyes during the whole speech. And it was crazy because when I was the last person to come up and talk to him, and he looked at me and I looked at him, and it was just like mutual respect. And so shout out to David Banner as well, because he helped me understand something that day. Believe in yourself. Believe in your mark that you're going to leave on people, because your message is bigger than what you think it is right now. And so like the message that he gives out still currently, I'm very appreciative of. So now you, Dr. Brown, there's a lot of things that you have accomplished in, your short time on this earth. She wants to say that she's 28 years old, y'all.
25.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me correct. 25. So from things that you have accomplished and the experience that you have, what are some of those things, and how do you feel like they have left a mark on your people that you come in contact with in general, and people that you may not even know have been looking at you from afar and gain that motivation, strength, and interest in things?
I think one of the main things is that I'm authentic. What you see is what you get. And as we're speaking about celebrities, and no disrespect to celebrities, but I could care less about people on television. I mean, that's their job. Like we have a job, And so that's the same likeness I look at them as. There's a lot of people I admire, but I don't get into being starstruck. But what is really interesting, though, is people consider me a celebrity. And I kind of I don't know why, but you hear
me neither.
Well, you're going to find out why. But, because we have our hometown celebrities and heroes and things of that nature, right? But every time I meet, and I'm in a social organization and really known throughout, okay? And so we were doing a fundraiser in the fall, and somebody from London and in India purchased T-shirts because they recognized my face on the flyer. And so in that regard, I don't get real shook up about things like that. It is what it is. But one thing that I am most proud of is that I treat people the way I want to be treated. My mom is my celebrity. She is my heroine, okay? Every paper that I ever wrote, scholarships that I received, I wrote about my mom. So can I give a shout out to my mother, Macy Brown, in Rowland, North Carolina.
Hey, Miss Macy.
And
Miss Macy with the great cakes.
Yes, with the great cakes,
Shout out to Miss Macy. And Mr. L.Brown.
Yes,
don't forget Mr. L.Brown.
Exactly. I'm a product of the two of them. I'm their seed. One thing I always say is that I get my business acumen from my father. Okay. And then my nurturing side I get from my mom. The two of those combined to me make me a force to be reckoned with. But I never forget where I come from. And I'm always a champion for what people might call the disadvantage or the underdog. No, I see them as being diverse individuals. And sometimes they just need a push or an encouraging word to know that. So I came into the profession of speech language pathology by happenstance. I wanted to be a judge, but then I found out that you have to be a lawyer first and kind of go through the political scene. I was like, no, this is not for me. So when I was at school at Pembroke State University, now known as UNC Pembroke, I got pregnant my freshman year, as we talked about a little bit. And but the deal with my parents was we made a pact or a contract of sorts, is that if I went to Pembroke my first year and did very well, stay close to home, then I could go to UNC Greensboro because they had a speech pathology program. So I knew since 1982, no, I would say maybe 1984, that I want to be a speech pathologist. My grandmother had a debilitating stroke. I didn't even know about the profession, but my mom was her caretaker, and she took her in. And the speech pathologist used to come to work with her. And my grandmother's name is Miss Louise Miles. And so I was always a curious kid. And I'm really left brain, so anything language I tap into quickly. But she was working with her one day, and one of the things that I remember her asking my mom, what is a goal for your mom? For her mother, which was my grandmother, and she said for her to be able to speak again, even if she can't speak, but just to be able to say maybe I love you. And so she used to work with her on lip placement and everything, and I was her little helper. So being a speech language pathologist It's something that I knew that I wanted to do, but it's also in honor of my grandmother and my heritage. So I take it very seriously. And so in that likeness too, I mentor. I'm still in touch with students. And I used to teach at Shaw University for 5.5 years. So I became like, instead of their professor, I became like their mother away from home. And and they still remember me. I still get invited to weddings and things of that nature. So although I've never been on, I have been on television locally, but although my name may not be in lights in like Hollywood, everybody has something to offer. Everybody has a story. And so that's how I came into the profession. And it's important to know, I didn't know before I got engaged in the profession, that it's only 3% African American. So young people, okay, young persons, even if you are changing or switching career paths, look into speech language pathology. People like to say, oh, you can make lots of money. It's not about the money, but I'm a servicer or human servicer, so it's a helping profession. If you don't want to be a doctor, if you don't want to be a nurse, because we need you. We need people that look like us to work with people who are having strokes, brain injuries, and all sorts of things. And so, but honestly, I didn't even know anything about speech language pathology until my grandmother had that stroke.
I never knew that story. Yeah. And thank you for sharing with us today on that particular subject, because you know, it's very rare that you hear a person who's 25 knowing 1984 what they wanted to do.
I was 12 years old when I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah, so man, you scared. Hey, did you get caught in a blip on the Adventures Endgame or something? But no, I'm just being funny, y'all. But that, you know, is amazing, because, you know, a lot of us, we don't know what we want to be, and we don't know where we want to head, and you know, that's powerful, because you had a goal, you had a dream, and even though the script for the goal was rewritten, right, it still got the perfect ending. The funny thing, a lot of people don't know, my dream, and I ain't gonna say it was my original dream, because it wasn't, but if I could have did it instead of going to college, I would, which is become a massage therapist. And a lot of people don't know is that I'm on the cusp of it. I really didn't even tell my family I was going to school for it. You know, I looked at them like, hey, I'm going to school. What you going to school for? You'll find out when you need to find out. So I got kind of a lot of flack from it, especially from my mom. You know, I think I told my sister, but she didn't necessarily, she kept asking, but I don't think she necessarily, you know, asked enough from the standpoint of making me get agitated with it without telling anybody. Cause I wanted it. Sometimes you have to have goals for yourself, and it's right. And you have to go about it your way. That's right. And so, it was probably the biggest accomplishment to me. I'm gonna say second biggest accomplishment to me, because like my instructor, Miss Beth Locklear, taught us well. She gave us a lot of strength. She gave us a lot of knowledge. She gave it to us from the standpoint of what she had to go through to get there. And I value all that a lot, because, you know, I always felt like I was good with my hands. And so, you know, I'll give people massages and like, oh, you good with your hands, you should go to work. Well, you know, but where we come from, certain things are not offered right away. And so like, you don't know how to get to it. And that's something I had to learn, like how to get to certain situations. So once it was offered, and I walked in the Robinson Community College and told the lady, I said, ma'am, please tell me y'all still have room. And she was like, well, you gotta get your money in by such and such. I tell you what, ma'am, I want this. I gotta have this. I will have my money that day. And I was panicking, y'all, because it was like, it wasn't a high amount of money, but it was like I had to get it in a short amount of time. And you don't never know where money gonna come from, but it came. And so so I get to class that day, and mind y'all, I'm the only male in the class. In this profession, males are rare. We are a valued commodity, but we're also a commodity that have to be mindful, because we're a male. Yes. And a lot of massages are driven to the female customer. And then your male customer might not want you to give him a massage. But once you learn, the factors of how massage helps and everything it does for you, it coincides with speech therapy a lot, because everything I look at is one big engine that wraps around itself to help each other. But to find out it's only 3%, blacks that are in speech pathology, I need to find out how many, not even necessarily blacks, but how many men are in massage therapy. I do follow one. I can't remember the dude's particular name, but he does a great job with, how he structures his massages and shows people how to go through massage. But it's a tough task, because I remember, as I was getting out of class, I had a talk with a girlfriend at the time. And, I tell people like this, like, they came to me like, so where you going to go work at? Like, I'm working for myself. I'm like, huh? What you mean? Like, I'm not about to go, I didn't do this to go work for Massage Envy or a Hand and Stone. And no disrespect to those places. They're great. But I'm going to create my own. And so it was like, well, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. And even and they still went back to the place like, well, you go work there, you're not going to be able to do this. And you're going to make good money, but you're limited in what you're doing. You're a male. And, if y'all going to hear me say this, I hate dream killers.
Right. The naysayers. Wow.
And one thing, you can't be around me as a dream killer. I don't care if you're family. I don't care if you're friend. I don't care if you're foe. I'm going to uplift you. I might talk junk to you because the way I grew up in my family, we talk at each other versus to each other. And, not taking nothing away from it, was both good and bad. But at the same time, you learn that you had to stand up for yourself in order to get where you need to be. And so, but I did have dream killers, and I looked at them a lot like, I'm not listening to you, I got to go do what I need to do. And so sometimes in life we become dream killers. And so, one thing I hope that we never do, and what a good emphasis on this show, Mr. Stevens, is that we're going to uplift your dreams. If we ever kill your dreams, tell us, because we're sorry out the gate. We didn't never try to do that. We're going to be hard on you because people's hard on us. And I think that's something that has left from this generation, and that's why, I'm glad y'all came on today, because it's like everything I hear from it is perseverance, hard work, determination. Somebody told me I couldn't do it. Somebody said you weren't going to do it. Somebody said, oh, this is going to hinder you. And it hasn't hindered neither one of you. And I'm sorry, y'all can't even talk. See how they got me tongue-tied today?
You're good.
Neither one of you ladies were hindered by anything that transpired in your life. It actually uplifted y'all past, means of what most people thought you was going to be. So round of applause to you ladies on that, because it's very monumental that we can have this conversation. I know me and Mr. Stevens talk a lot about the aspect of what we can do next for the next person. And being, fraternity brothers, but this is my brother over here, we want to help the next person. And so, like, we know you, Miss AB, you don't often talk about a lot. And yeah, I called her by her nickname, AB, y'all. We can interchange with her because she's original OG. She could be hood, she could be corporate, she could be anything she wants to be. But what you don't know is you're famous in the folklore of UNC Pembroke State. A lot of people know Dr. Angela Brown as AB, member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Her folklore actually preceded me at UNC Pembroke, and it was a hard folklore to handle and deal with. I got stories for days on that, but I'm only going to mention these for a few things. I had people watching me I didn't even know was watching me because she was a Zeta. And shout out to Miss Cynthia Redford. Miss Cynthia had more information on me than I knew. And I thought I'm hiding behind the bricks and everything. Miss Cynthia knew who I was before I even walked into her dorm. Miss Cynthia, don't get me. I snuck in your dorm many times. But Miss Cynthia always showed me love and respect, and then I guess somehow or another I found out she knew who I was, so I went up to her and introduced myself. She, you know, if anybody know Miss Cynthia, she gonna give you that stern look like, I already know who you were, young man. When were you gonna come talk to me?
Oh yeah.
And so, but the folklore about you, Dr. Brown, was like, hey, if you mention AB, and I'm her cousin. So I'm coming up to people like, hey, I know such and such. You don't know such and such and such. I know the female. No, you don't. So I'm telling them certain things, not necessarily about your organization, but about you within your organization. So you don't know her like that. Well, call her. Yep. And so they'll give the call. And I'm not sure how the conversation went, but that look they used to get when they come back, like, who you think you are? You think you special because you know AB. No, AB knows me. That's what makes it special.
Tell him that's right.
But no, a reason why
I was just encamping a village around you, and like you said, you know, just to make sure that you had what you needed, you know, and you know. But it was funny though because they did used to call, and I was like, "Yes, that's my cousin." He is, yes.
And see, the funny thing is, you didn't know he wasn't just in campusing a village for me, or campus a village for me and my brothers and everybody that was connected to me. Because there's plenty of times where, you know, and thank you, Miss Cynthia. We came across Miss Cynthia in the wrong light for being students. I'm gonna say it like that. But because Miss Cynthia knew who we were and the pedigree who we came from, it wasn't that she gave us, you know, a light hand. Because Miss Cynthia, if you know Miss Cynthia, she's going to be even more harsh on you, the fact that she know you. Yeah. But she took care of us. When I say that, she made sure that we knew right from wrong. We corrected our wrongs. But she nurtures a lot. She nurtured a lot of us. Her and Denise Lloyd. Those are two very influential people that made sure that we was straight. They made sure that we knew what we needed to know. I ain't gonna say they kept us out of trouble, because we got in trouble. They were gonna fire us up. But because of the pedigree that we came from and the people that we knew, they made sure that we learned from our lessons.
I got the phone calls.
I know you did. I know you did. And that phone call related to somebody else. And then I got to hear mouth later on. Man. I'm having a flashback. Y'all forgive me for the moment. Yeah. But I do want to ask y'all ladies this while we have y'all on the show today. Besides motivation, besides everything y'all accomplish, what is a regret that you may have about what you may have failed to do in life, or something that you feel like you could have did more in life? If y'all don't mind speaking on that today.
Well, I think we all have regrets to some degree, right?
Yeah.
And the one that comes readily to mind for me is I had an opportunity to take a position in London, England, maybe about 15 years ago, and it was teaching English at Cambridge, and I didn't do it. And so I've always been fascinated, or really liked what I think I know about London. And but I realized though that 15 years ago I wasn't the person that I am today. So it wasn't intended for me to be there, but I do plan to visit London at some point, you know, or England even, but I didn't take that opportunity. But really and truly, I had already manifested to myself through God that I didn't want to teach anymore. And so I've now been a speech pathologist since 2006, and so that opportunity came when I was like in graduate school, and it was through one of my patients at the time. But so although it was a regret then, now I realize that it was a blessing in disguise.
Gotcha. What about you, Miss Brown or Lynn?
I regret that I didn't finish school when I was younger. And like you said, you did finish school before me. But that was most my regret. Then when I moved to New York, again, I was determined to go back to school and make something out of myself, and I did. But often I just wonder what would life be had I finished school in North Carolina at Winston-Salem State. Go Rams.
Well,
Go Braves.
go Mustangs.
Mustangs, that's right, Mustangs. But that's really important. I have a family member now that told me that she needs a degree. That's what she wants to do, and that's so important to her. But I think, because this podcast is for so many different age groups, I don't necessarily always encourage people to get a degree. Because that may not be your thing. But, there's many people that make great livings without a college degree. So it's not that I'm not saying don't get your education, but understand, though, if college or a university setting is not for you, there are things that you can do. I just advised somebody the other day through casual conversation. Her nephew is a gamer. And so they have like gaming and simulation certificates like at the community college. So there's always something out there. But if you can discover what your passion is, what could you do every day and not get paid for it?
Right.
You actually just hit the meaning of do something for the kids on the head. And my sister kind of, stimulated this particular piece for me as well. And the crazy thing, if anybody, I'm going to say this today, my family, my aunts, I love them to death, but, to me, they used to pit us in competition with each other. Their nieces and nephews, who achieved this, who achieved that, who had the better degree and everything. And I don't take nothing away from it because it's needed. At the same time, I always shied away from that particular competition because at one point in time they pit me and my sister against each other, and I looked at them and laughed like I'm not going to go into competition with my sister. Because it was like, well, you finished college before your sister and everything. And I'm like, who cares?
Right? Who cares?
Because my sister's successful in my eyes. She has more than I have because I still have the picture for me, her, and our mom at graduation. And I go back and look at it from time to time right now, and it's like I'm happy that I'm actually I can't tell you how I felt that day, but I was happy. At the same time, I feel like my sister was more happy than me. And really, besides my cousin, which is my brother as well, both of them, Marquise Brown and Maxie Strickland, more or less that degree from UNC Pembroke was for Marquise Brown. And if it wasn't for Marquise Brown, it's for Lynetta Brown. I'm sorry, Lynn Brown.
Thank you.
She doesn't like that name, y'all. But it was more for Lynn Brown because at the end of the day, I wouldn't have made it through college without her. I still remember her taking me to college, her and Dr. Brown taking me to college. And it was a weird experience because I'd never been off, from the house. I've been off from the house, but not getting ready to embark on school without somebody wake you up in the morning and tell you, you got to be here, you got to be there, or you coming home in the afternoon to your house. Like college was a new experience for me. I got freedom. They ain't watching me. Oh boy. But, I appreciate that because, at the end of the day of life, a lot of people don't realize is that, people are your motivation. Certain situations people go through your motivation. And here we want to see people achieve more than they ever thought they could achieve. Right. We want people to be who they are. So y'all coming on and sharing your experiences and telling these things. There's somebody right now who is going through the same experiences as y'all that need to hear this, because a lot of people, they only get the after story, like I like to call it the victory lap story. Oh yeah. I don't like to tell victory lap stories. I want you to hear the pain.
That's right.
But people don't like hearing pain. I got to work hard to get there. Duh. no pain, no gain. Ain't that what it's for?
That's what it's for.
Right.
But at the same time, people sometimes want to hand it to them, especially this generation of kids, and I ain't gonna say they necessarily want to hand it to them. We're feeling and understanding what they need to help them see where they need to be. And also, we kind of microwaved it for them and made them think that it was that easy when it's not. Now, it's a whole lot easier for them to get to certain levels now than it was for us, because we had to go through leaps and bounds. Because I do remember walking that road up and down, and that was my other motivation, walking from where I stayed at in Bluebird all the way up to Rolling every day. And I still remember that walk, and I was telling somebody recently, I said, man, I'm going to make that. I was telling my cousin Lamont, I'm going to make that walk one day. Yeah. I said, you know what the crazy thing is, cuz I want to go back and park at the house and walk to Rolling, but I can drive now. But back then I couldn't drive, so I had motivation to get out of the house. I'm gone. Walking, didn't care what time of day it was, time of night, I'm gone. My mom's scared. Oh, boy, you need to stay off them streets. And she didn't realize I need to see the streets, so I didn't want to be in those streets.
Oh, wow. Right. That's deep.
And I couldn't, you couldn't explain that to your parent at that time, because they don't see it from your standpoint, your likelihood. My sister got on me a lot about being out there in the streets. She had radars and detectors and police surveillance and watchdogs, everything you want to call them after me, man. Look, I couldn't do no dirt in the street, man. Hey, your sister's watching. No, my sister ain't. And I got warnings sometimes. By the time I got the warning, she already come chewing somebody. My brother. I'm like, gosh. I'm sorry, man. I ain't mean to put you through that. You know what I'm saying? That's how they tell the people that used to come to me. I ain't mean to put you through. Man, I can't hang with you. Your sister rough. I mean, yeah, she rough, but don't worry about it. I got it. But those experiences are what helped made me, because I got a funny story about you, Dr. Brown. And I'm going to tell you how OG Dr. Brown is. There's a place in Dillon, South Carolina. And if y'all hear this level of professionalism that comes from her voice right now, you would not believe that this lady would enjoy hot dogs from this one place I never thought she would eat it. And you thought I forgot about it.
Oh my God. That's a throwback.
I told your daughter about this, some years back. And I said, man, your mama still, I asked, I said, do your mama still eat at that hot dog place in Dillon, on the corner? Look like it's run down. She was like, every time she can.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It amazed me, because I'm looking at her like, and I'm young, they didn't want me to ride with them. And I will give.
I didn't have a problem with you.
I was about to give you your flower on that. You didn't mind me riding now. My sister and everybody else. I don't want to take that boy with me. Angela's like, bring the boy on.
Right. Where's Travis?
And I'm looking at Angela like, yeah, you get it, don't you? Yeah. So we went to this place one day at Dillon. I'm like, what the hell? I'm saying it's like, what the hell we going here for? Who eat here? And then Angela come out with these 2 hot dogs, and y'all know me, I'm greedy, I'm hungry, little big fat boy. I'm looking at the hot dog like, I want one of them hot dogs. But she had so much on the hot dogs, it turned me off. And y'all know me, I eat my hot dogs plain or chili and cheese. That's it. But I'm looking at her and I'm like, you're too uppity to eat these hot dogs. Mm-mm. And she gave me that look. I mean, I never said these words to her. She gave me that look like, boy, I'm from Rolling.
Right. And still do the same thing. Mm-hmm. Look, you know what? And that's a testimony really to who I am. Mm-hmm. I'm going to always be that person that goes to the hole in the wall. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That kind of feel. And I think that's why people kind of gravitate toward me. Because you can feel my energy. Energy is so important, right? But my daughter is absolutely correct. They have new owners now, so the hot dogs don't quite taste the same. But that was a ritual for us on Saturdays when we used to go grocery shopping with our parents, and that was our treat. So I carried on that tradition with my nieces and my nephews and even my daughter. And I do have a daughter, and she's 29, and I have a really brilliant grandson, CJ, who is going to be 8. And so
going on 18. 23, yes. Really.
Yes, he is.
He's rough, y'all, but he's good.
He is. And but he knows about the hot dog place too. So it's interesting that you bring up that story. Travis, I don't even remember you going there with us, but gosh.
I tell people this, and a lot of people don't realize. You know, they think I'm just telling this to be funny, but I'm about to be 40 in July, and I literally relive every single moment of my life every day. Like, I have to go through it, and that's something I'll probably talk about in future episodes. But that's the pain I go through. I literally relive every moment, good and bad, through my life every single day. When I wake up and before I go to sleep, I go through almost 40 years of my life. And to be pulled apart and to bring it all back together each day, it takes a lot of strength, you know, but it's who I am. And that's why I'm here today, you know, trying to get people to understand, like, you know, you're not alone. Somebody else goes through it too. So we're here to help you. So, and I'm going to give my sister something real quick. Safeway in Dillon. I used to try to tag along my sister, take my grandma to Walmart at Dillon all the time, knowing grandma was going to get me something. And so my sister looking at me half the time, well, don't ask grandma for such and such and such. Like, man, that's grandma. Grandma going to get it for me. I'm Travis. Grandma loves some Travis. And grandma was like, oh, shoot, boy, I ain't got no money. I ain't get it. But then she pulling out change out of that change first, like, go get that boy, whatever. So, you know, but the thing was, I wanted this Ninja Turtle toy so bad. My mom wasn't trying to give me the money for it. So we went to Dillon. I went with my sister and grandma. So I'm trying to find the right way to tell my grandma, like, hey, can you get this toy for me? So somehow or another, I convinced my grandma to get the toy for me. My sister looked at me, boy, grandma ain't got no money to be spending on that. I'm like, yeah, but she spent it though. Thank you. You know, but the funniest thing was, you know, I'm highlighting that, but the real highlight is grandma had to get some Safeway chicken. Am I right, Lynn?
Mm-hmm.
Grandma had to get Safeway chicken before she went home. Now, sometimes grandma wasn't going to get Safeway chicken for the house. She was getting it for herself. And so the funny part is, if you knew my grandma, when she started talking and you didn't pay attention, she's going to get you. Grandma could curse and you'd be like, grandma, ain't you in the church? Oh, shoot, boy, it's in the Bible. She been saying shit, but oh, shoot, boy, you know. But grandma had to have that Safeway chicken. Safeway chicken was more of a staple than Texaco's chicken and rolling at that time. And so, man, if anybody know you know, shout out to everybody, grandma. Shout out to Ressie Hun Wallace as well. But grandma used to have us to the point where, like, okay, grandma, what you want? Grandma most of the time had everything wrote down. But at the same time, as soon as you go, if you didn't bring that order back correct to grandma, you going back in that store 4 or 5 times to get it correct. And she was not moving. She did not care. That little change purse is clutched. If she gave, as a matter of fact, grandma had the money down to a T. You be like, grandma's not enough. Boy, shoot, I told you it's enough. Take it in there. And you like, grandma's not enough. You get in there and you don't want to be embarrassed. But you find out grandma knew everything before you knew. And my grandma was very influential, and I think I mentioned that before, you know, because, and if I didn't, I need to. She taught us how to understand money first, you know. And that's other things that we're going to start talking about in the future as well in this show, because, you know, I actually got a finance degree. And I shied away from the stocks and everything for years, you know. And I tell my family, like, hey, you want me to help you get some money? I can help you. But they didn't listen to me. Like, well, you ain't got no money. How you gonna help us get money? Well, by that time, okay, I ain't got to talk to you. So, you know, in future shows, and I want y'all to come back on and help us as well. You know, we got a lot we could talk about, but future shows, we're going to start dabbling in a lot of different things because we want to help these individuals be better than us. So now I'm studying stocks again to be able to teach stocks to people, which it ain't hard. You know what I'm saying?
I want to be a customer. Can I be one of your customers?
I'm about to send you. The funniest thing is we could start on Cash App, but I'm going to send you a link, referral link to Robinhood, and we're going to get started. I should have sent you this a while ago because I could have had you on something when it went down. Now it's moving back up, but
and I'm actually on Robinhood, but I don't understand how to really move things around, because then, like, recently it was like Tesla, Apple, and I was like, I don't know what to do.
Okay, let me answer this for you then. Stocks is as simple as this. somebody's going to ask you, how risk averse are you? And when they ask you risk averse, it means how much do you want to lose? How much do you want to gain? Or how much do you want to run for the gusto? Or how much are you scared? So obviously you'll say, hey, Tesla's doing great. Apple's doing great. But guess what? Them are high stocks to get into. Now, the beauty part is you could put $100 in there and get those, get some money back off of it. But what do you like? What do you spend on? What do you use the most? That's how you measure stocks. So like for me, one of the stocks I jumped into was GE. And General Electric actually is in a lot of once you start looking at stuff, everything touches everything. So not only is General Electric in the transportation, electricity, they're also in the medical and everything. There's 5 different categories General Electric stays in. So the thing is, when I jumped in General Electric the first time, it was like $7 a share. Now it's up to $13. I got out of it too soon, but I'm going to get back into it. Now the funny thing is, and I'm gonna say this before we close our show out for the day, but I do want people to understand this. There was a GameStop frenzy, and it came back on Cash Out, and I need to kick myself in the butt. And I'm saying this because somebody needs to hear this today. It came back on Cash App at $48 and some change a share.
Oh wow!
Wow.
I was working at the time. My supervisor doesn't necessarily want us on our phones doing work, and I respect that. But something said, boy, go ahead and buy the stock. But I'm like, no, let me follow protocol. So I got off work. I said, I'm going to get into the stock. Do y'all know at this time it was like 1 o'clock, between 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And it really happened between 3:50 to 4 o'clock. That stock jumped from $48 to $91.
Ooh, wow.
So when I got off, I said, man, I missed out. Man, hell, when it happened. And then I decided to get into the stock. I'm sitting in the car that night. It's about 8 o'clock, so I'm going to get into it. When I woke up next morning, the stock had jumped from 91 to 161. So where I'm thinking I put $200 in there. I'm thinking I'm about to get two shares of stock. Yeah, I'm about to maximize. I got a share in a piece, and I'm like, how'd that happen? It jumped from 91 to 161. So now I'm in the game. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get off. It's gonna jump back up that $300 some a share. Do y'all know that day it went all the way down to $88 a share? So I lost money that day from that 161. So it got back to a certain number. I jumped out of it, rebrought it. When I did finally cash out with that one share, I made $200 off that one share because it jumped from $109 or $10 back up to $347. And all this happened within a 7 to 10 day span. And so the reason I'm saying this to y'all, because people's lives change within this time. And what we don't teach enough is financial literacy.
That's right.
Whether it's from the aspect of making money, controlling money, figuring out money, or how you manage debt to make you money. And so that's something that we hope with this show. And we really haven't scratched the surface on many things that we want to talk about. We're really just introducing the show at this point. So these episodes of podcasts that we're giving out has been an introduction to where we want to get to, because we want you to see people. But we're going to start introducing what makes us special.
Yes.
Everybody has a hand in certain things. We have people that's going to be coming on here soon that you would never expect them to reach the levels that they have. But that's the beauty part about the show, because we want you to see this is you 20 years later. This is you 30 years, 40 years later, however you want to see it. But when I looked at that situation, I saw that stock, I was like, man, I missed out, because I wanted to put $500 in. And I remember I said $48 a share. You know how much that $500 would have turned into within 10 days?
Wow.
And that's dumbness on me, because I have to be the person that has to take the risk and understand the risk. So as you talk about stock, and we're going to continue to talk about stock with you, this is what I told you this. I told the people this story, but I'm telling you this story because I need you to understand, like, you're gonna miss opportunities. Don't worry about that. You know, but find what you like. Find what, you know, some stuff is going to be like, I need to jump in that because it's making money. Like Microsoft, I need to jump in that making money. But you find a stock that nobody's looking at that represents your life, that represents something that you buy every day, that you participate in every day. And that's how you build your stock portfolio. And once you build but you got to worry, don't worry about the risk. Don't worry about how long it takes to make the money. Because some stocks are going to jump, and people are like, how do you know that stock going to jump? Well, you called Ernest Brown, Stock Consulting Services. I'm just saying that to be funny, but literally,
you need to make that into your actual business.
Yeah, but I do, and we may get to that point sooner or later. But you know, I wanted to share that little tidbit with people because I know that's something they need to hear. But again, ladies, we could be talking for days. Y'all coming back on.
Yes.
Even if I got to go drive the limo to pick y'all up. These people too famous for me. Hey, I do Uber, so they gonna Uber me to death. So, you know, but I do appreciate y'all coming and sharing, you know, your life with us today, your story, you know, who you are. And they made me who I am. I'm not ashamed to say it. And they're extending this love and knowledge to Mr. Stevens as well. Because soon we're going to have us an extravaganza because Mr. Stevens' daughter's graduating. And we're going to party like it's 1999. Guaranteed. And we're going to help raise that generation to be better than us. And he know that's my motivation. So I know that's his motivation for his daughters. And so, Mr. Stevens, you got two lovely ladies here that's willing to share information with them if they want it. You know, they don't mind. Reach out. We're going to reach out. Anybody want to meet these lovely young ladies? They're both 25. As they big little brother, they're unavailable. They may be available. I don't know. But seriously though, I do appreciate y'all more than y'all know. I can't give y'all enough flowers, you know, personally. And we do like to give our guests certain gifts. I gave them their gifts off air because, you know, some things are not to be put out all the time. Well, if they want to share it, I'll let them share it. But at the end of the day, they're gifts from the heart. And they're also ambassadors for Do Something for the Kids Incorporated. So if you see them anywhere, you know, stop them and ask them questions. They're willing to talk. If not, you can set appointments with their managers and they'll get back to you. But again, ladies, I do appreciate y'all being on today.
Certainly.
We're going to coordinate when y'all can come back on. And again, about the donation part, I'm going to make that donation for you all. Again, if y'all want to donate, we already giving out that information. Please share, you know, because we want to rebuild this village. And the village is more important to me than anything right now. I need people. I need hands on that. Like my sister said earlier, boots on the ground. We need boots on the ground. And once we get these boots on the ground and moving, we're going to make this thing work. But again, y'all, thank y'all for joining us. We Do Something for the Kids today. And take care.